Who's your emergency contact? Who should we notify in the case of death? Welcome to the USP, where I spent the last 2+ decades of my life. I'm in bloody Beaumont. And you already know what it is. Today, it's the Muslim and the Jamaicans. You know, I don't know what transpired between these two individuals. Because like I say, I like to repeat, I don't ask a whole lot of questions. You know, when the incident goes off on the yard, I personally try to be as far away from it as possible. I don't need to see it, don't want to see it, and I don't even really care to hear about it. But like the penitentiary, like high school, everybody likes to talk and share things, and there's no secrets. You know, people tell you what's the difference between a secret and a rumor. A rumor, everybody knows about it. A secret, everybody knows about it, just one at a time. You know, but I'm there, and the part I see was just them blowing up on the yard in front of the chow hall. You know, when you come out of Beaumont in yard 3, is a track. When you come out, you got to cut across that track to get to the intersection, where I call the intersection the gate, where it splits up to my unit straight up C block, or you go to the right, which is towards F and E, or you go to the left, which is A and B. You know, so the situation was something, they had a little dispute in a chow hall. Maybe the Jamaican dude had disrespected one of the Muslims. So the Muslim went and told him whatever he told him, but the guy was just like, whatever, you know. So the Muslim approached the Jamaican car and told him, hey, your homeboy was disrespectful, blah, blah, blah. You guys need to go ahead and handle that. But the Jamaican is like, nah, we ain't gonna do nothing to him about that shit. So when the Jamaicans told them that they weren't gonna do anything about it, all the Muslims got up and walked out of the chow hall. And, you know, everywhere you go, there's always metal detectors. So a lot of the routines that we have, I myself and other groups, we all have knives in Beaumont. If you're a gang member in Beaumont, it's mandatory to carry one. If you're a convict in Beaumont trying to survive, it's mandatory that you carry one. So, and if you're just somebody that's on the yard, you're not affiliated with anything, but you know everybody else got knives, I promise you, you're going to get one too. Because when you get into a confrontation, even though you know how to fight or whatever, when that steel goes inside you, that takes the fight out of you, man. You know, I haven't met one person that can't be stopped by that thing, except for my buddy Bryson, you know. But the rest of us, we're human. And if we get stabbed, it's gonna hurt. We're gonna feel it. And outside, just your adrenaline pumping, I don't know how to describe it to you. It's just better that you have one of your own, so that way when somebody comes at you, he knows that you're just as armed as he is, and he's not gonna just get a free shot at you. But everywhere we go, we always go through the metal detectors. You know, when we go on the yard, when you go to yard 1, yard 2, you might not have to go to, you can just walk into the yard because it's just grass and a track, and the other one has, yard 2 has a softball field. When you go to yard 3, you got to walk through the metal detector because they have an indoor rec that's attached to it. When you come out the unit, there's a metal detector. But getting out of the unit with your piece it's a lot easier to getting into the chow hall with it. So most of the routines that everybody have would be you always leave one person behind to hold all the knives while the rest of you go eat. You know, missing a meal, unless it's on like chicken day or something, because back then they used to give us fried chicken. Fried chicken, everybody's going to eat. But most of the time, you have commissary back in your unit, back in your cell, that you can always cook and eat or whatever. But we always have one person that stays back to hold everybody's knives. And then when they come out of the chow hall, when they get across the intersection, because the intersection is just a clusterfuck. Everybody's there between moves, between meals, you know, doing deals, politicking, or chopping it up, whatever. It's crowded. So everybody plays the wall between CA and DA. And when everybody comes back out, that's where everybody, you know, hands back their knives or whatever. But we always leave somebody behind to hold the knives because we can't get through the metal detector in the kitchen. So the Muslims come out and they go get their knives and they're outside waiting. Well, the Jamaican, see, sometimes I just don't understand how some people process situations. Because these dudes, these Jamaican dudes, you know, by no means are they suckers or they dumb or clueless. And I'm sure, you know, they're individuals of certain standards, certain status, and has certain capacity to, you know, to be able to handle certain things. But you're in the penitentiary. Like, no one is above the rules. I emphasize this all the time. Don't matter how big your gang is, how tough you are. We have rules, we have politics in there that you have to abide by. Now, when the Muslims approached this dude, the Jamaican dudes, and told him, hey, you got to handle your homie, he was disrespectful. Two choices that Jamaicans have. They either handle their homeboy and keep the peace, or if they're not going to handle their homeboy, then they know they might as well just take off on the Muslims. Because for them to think that the Muslims or any other group is just going to accept you telling them, hey, go fuck off, is arrogant and is stupid and very, very dangerous. And these guys learned it the hard way. So the Muslims outside on the track, grouped up. You know, the Jamaicans, when they finish, you know, everybody that comes in to eat, when you eat, you all wait for each other to finish and you all get up and leave together. Everybody in the penitentiary, for the most part, run in a group. Where they're going to the yard, where they're going to chow, wherever they're going. And if there's dudes that are of a certain stature in the organization, they always got security around them. Because you have to understand, we live in a very hostile environment. And you never know when another group is plotting on you. Or if another group in another penitentiary is plotting on you. Because you might be cool with everybody here and get along, but you don't know what just happened a couple of days ago in another penitentiary between your group and this group. And now there's word being sent. Because, you know, even in the security level that we are, everybody that wants to is able to communicate with other people in the penitentiary. And the people in the penitentiary, they got some that are very intelligent. They could be CEOs of companies. They could run empires and stuff, but they chose a different lifestyle. But they're intelligent and they're able to get around all the roadblocks as far as their line of communication. That's why a lot of times when riots happen in one penitentiary with two major groups, it blows up on other yards. It's like a chain fire reaction because they have their way to communicate. So that's why these dudes that are shot callers or lieutenants or whatever in their organization, where everywhere they go, they have bodyguards, security, you know. So all the Muslims are out there on the yard waiting. For whatever reason, like I said, I just don't understand it, their mentality, the Jamaicans. But they just came out, moseying out like it was a bright sunny day, like nothing else, you know, like they just didn't tell somebody, fuck you, you know. So when they all came out, it was about 6 or 7. No, there's about 10 of them. It's about a 10-on-10 situation. You know, I couldn't count them all because, one, most of them were all black. You know, I can tell the difference between the Jamaicans because a few of them have dreads, but I'm on another yard, and I'm not, you know, doing any like racial whatever shit. Anyway, back to the story. Sorry, I got sidetracked because I know like nowadays everything is so filtered and sensitive, and I don't want to get canceled. But whatever, right? Anyway, so you know, the Jamaicans come out. As soon as they hit the track, the Muslims rushed them and took off on them. There was a couple of Jamaican dudes that had knives on them that they carried with them, but the rest of them had the shit laying up under the bunk in the unit because they had to go through the metal detector to get to the chow. And they got punished. And there was this one particular Muslim dude, but he was white. That's why I'm able to recognize him because he stood out in front of the crowd. He was a little white dude that ran Muslim. I don't know how he got, I don't know his personal situation, but he went hard. He was running around stabbing this dude, going back, stabbing this dude, because shit, they had a good like 5 minutes getting it in. And, you know, from a spectator view, you can't take your eyes away from those situations. Even though I'm the person that wants to be away from those, and, you know, if it's happening over here, I'm trying to be over there, you know, vice versa. But when you're already on the yard already and the shit's popping off, shit, you're glued to the screen. It's real life shit. You know, Hollywoods can't make shit up like this. You know, you see the movie Braveheart back in the days where everybody lined up, you know, across from each other with freaking machetes and swords and axes and just running in, you know, like that's real life shit. That's crazy ass shit. And yeah, they were out in the yard just stabbing each other up and kept stabbing each other up until the guards came. And when I try to emphasize this, I tell this, it's not just a personal animosity or even hatred or dislike for correctional officers, you know, because there's a few that's been in the system that are respectable men and women that carry themselves, you know, respectfully, that respect the inmates. But there's some individuals that look at us like we're not human. You know, I've heard out of it a few, I don't think we're equal. They feel that you're a lesser person than they are because they're the guard and you're the inmate. And then you have these fucking douchebags that think they're tough because they're hard, because they know, how do I say this? Their hearts, their courage is on loan by the federal government because they know if I put my hands on them, they're going to be in the fucking courtroom crying, testifying, talking about, I was just doing my job. Which the whole time they were being a piece of shit and somebody got tired of that shit and punished them. But these gung-ho, tough motherfuckers, they're always the first one to run when the situation pops off. But if you're cuffed up and they got the advantage on you, oh yeah, they're trying to fuck you up. They're trying to kick you in the balls, fucking stick their finger in your eyes while you're in restraints. And, you know, I can say these things because I've experienced them with these motherfuckers, you know? So, whatever, the deuce comes, they come running, they see dudes running around stabbing each other, they don't want no part of it. All of a sudden, they scared now, you know? But when you're restrained, you're tough, you know? They're tough when you're restrained. So anyway, they ran over there, dropped their nuts, and just watched the shit like the rest of us did until the gun tower shot the flash grenades. And then they started bringing in the second wave. They came in with shotguns and started, you know, yelling, get down, all that goofy ass shit, you know. But yeah, I apologize sometimes that I veer off and get animated about certain issues. But when it comes to correctional officers, I just had my experience with them for so many years that it just, you know, like the fire inside of me because it's, you know, like there's so many times I just wanted to choke one of them out. But you have to restrain yourself because you know you can't win in this situation. You know, I learned it the hard way. You know, I knocked out a guard earlier in my bid and ended up with 8 extra years. And having a 26-year sentence already, I didn't want to add another one. So, yeah. But, you know, I'll share that with you through the course of my time. But like I said, whether you agree with the things that we do, how we live our life and whatnot, please understand that we have standards. We have codes and conducts that we live and die by. And there's certain behaviors that we don't accept. We don't tolerate. We don't violate no kids. We don't violate no women. And we don't tell on people. Welcome to the USP.